That is the White House. Nobody's home. I'm not talking about Joe Biden. The president is overseas, obviously in Asia. All right, welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. New movement in Gaza, kind of, asterisk, whatever. Hamas says it's searching for hostages, or what's left of them. 13 bodies have still not been recovered and sent back to Israel. Egyptian crews are moving in with heavy gear, all tied to this ceasefire that, let's be honest, is barely holding on for now. Joining us now is Frank Gaffney, the executive chair of the Center for Security Policy, the author of The Indictment. Frank, thanks for being here. So this search by Hamas, there's the book. Got to go out and get that, by the way. Go to Amazon. The search by Hamas, what's really going on here, Frank? We hear search. I mean, come on. Should we read between the lines here? Help us through this a little bit. Good morning.
Yeah, just a quick clarification. I'm with the Institute for the American Future now. What's going on, I think, is what has been going on any time throughout history that Muslim combatants have been losing. And that is that they engage in something called a hudna. We interpret that as a ceasefire, a truce, even perhaps the makings of a peace agreement. But we do so at our peril, because a hudna, by definition, going back literally to Muhammad's day, is simply a moment when, rather than risk losing, the Muslim side agrees to a pause that permits them to regroup, rearm, and then re-engage under more favorable circumstances. And I think what Hamas is doing is jerking Israel around on these hostages. They were supposed to have been released, even the bodies, 72 hours after Israel agreed to enter into this exercise. And they're dragging this out. I feel very certain, and I know Israeli intelligence does, that the Hamasniks have a pretty good idea where a lot of these bodies are. I'm concerned when I see heavy equipment turning up in Hamas-controlled Gaza, and it is still Hamas-controlled Gaza. Another thing we were told wouldn't be the case any longer. That will probably wind up moving not so much debris to find hostages, but probably debris to move openings to tunnels, which will be used in the post-Hudna period to re-engage against Israel.
Okay, so I want to talk a bit more about the hudna. I did want to go, and we will at some point in time move to President Trump's trip in Asia. But let's broaden the scope then. This isn't just about Hamas. It's about the other Muslim countries in the region. Do you see them being genuine in their stance, if you will, their position on peace for the region? Or are they also, do you see this being in a hudna kind of state where they're just lying in wait, if you will?
Well, you have to be a little careful about generalizing. I think, honestly, the Saudis and the United Arab Emirates are genuine about wanting a peace with Israel, a proper peace with Israel. The UAE has a Abraham Accord. The Saudis, I think, would like to have one. But they're also warning about what others, notably the Qataris and the Egyptians and the Turks, not Arabs, but the Turks are in this mix, Muslim nations that seemingly are intent on helping Hamas survive and return to the fight, and perhaps do so with their help in Gaza, which is a whole new level of threat facing Israel. I think that it is a mixed bag, gentlemen, and we are ignoring, again, this double game, really, that some, not all, some of the folks we're told are now determined to have peace, an enduring peace in the Middle East and end 3,000 years of war and all the rest of it. I just don't think that's the case, unfortunately.
Frank, President Trump could, let's get to some other members of the Legion of Doom. Trump could be heading for a potential meeting with North Korea's Kim Jong Un during his Asian trip, which is going on right now. Is there a possible win here? I mean, what would it look like? I mean, Kim Jong Un showing some respect. We haven't seen him launch a rocket in a long time. Maybe we should just extend this winning streak right now and agree to keep things as the status quo.
Look, the big news here, I think, is what has been taking place in the part of the Korean Peninsula south of the demilitarized zone. The election recently of President Lee, a radical, communist supporter of North Korea and of China, by the way, is changing the dynamic there in a way that I think is fraught, honestly. The unification minister, also, I believe, radical left, is pressing for this meeting. I think that the North Koreans, and more to the point, the Chinese Communist Party that has propped up Kim Jong Un and his dynasty, his predecessors for years, are very much of the view that they may be able to engineer at long last the removal of U.S. troops from South Korea on the basis perhaps of some peace treaty between the North and the South that will effectively turn the entire peninsula over to communists, because that's what President Lee is. It's one thing to meet and to talk and all that, jaw, as Churchill famously put it. But I think we should be under no illusion that what is happening in that particular peninsula is a momentous sea change, if you will, that is moving against our interests and possibly will translate into the Chinese being persuaded that this is the moment to move against Taiwan, because they've neutralized the Korean Peninsula in terms of it being a kind of a flank that is exposed to U.S. troops and power.
Well, that requires 6.5 follow-up questions, but we're out of time. Frank, we're going to have you back. We appreciate it.
Thanks. I'd love to. God bless you all.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
Frank.
All right. Thanks, Frank. Coming up, what health benefits do consuming warmer foods and drinks have? Well, that's an interesting tease. You know what? I'm going to stick around for that. I think I'm going to be here. We have some astonishing new details next on American Sunrise.